Example, the Alaska permanent fund dividend, equal to everybody in Alaska, adult and child.
In Easter message, Pope Francis proposes universal basic income. In Clark, April 2020. Pope Francis delivers this Easter blessing. Urbi et Orbi, to the city and to the world, after celebrating Easter Mass in St. Peter's Basilica at the Vatican, April 12, 2020. In a remarkable Easter Sunday letter to members of social movements around the world, Pope Francis, noting that the widespread suffering caused by the global coronavirus pandemic does not fall evenly, suggested that the crisis warranted the establishment of a universal basic income. He described it also as an opportunity for the affluent societies to downshift and reevaluate patterns of consumption and exploitation. This may be the time to consider a universal basic wage, which would acknowledge and dignify the noble, essential tasks you carry out, Pope Francis wrote. It would ensure and concretely achieve the ideal, at once so human and so Christian, of no worker without rights. I hope that in this time of danger will free us from operating on automatic pilot, shake our sleepy consciousness, and allow a humanist and ecological conversion that puts an end to the idolatry of money and places human life and dignity at the center, Pope Francis said. Our civilization, so competitive, so individualistic, with its frantic rhythms of production and consumption, its extravagant luxuries, its disproportionate profits for just a few, needs to downshift, take stock, and renew itself. Pope Francis said that technocratic paradigms, whether state-centered or market-driven, are not enough to address this crisis or the other great problems affecting humankind. Now more than ever, persons, he said, communities, and peoples must be put at the center, united to heal, to care, and to share. The Pope called members of social movements, which include civil society agents of change, from labor unions and indigenous rights activists, and advocates for the homeless and the environment. Social poets, because from the forgotten peripheries from where you live, you create admirable solutions for the most pressing problems afflicting the marginalized. In these days of great anxiety and hardship, the Pope said, many have used warlike metaphors to refer to the pandemic we are experiencing. If the struggle against COVID-19 is a war, then you truly are an invisible army, fighting in the most dangerous trenches, an army whose only weapons are solidarity, hope, and community spirit, all revitalizing at a time when no one can save themselves alone. Noting that market solutions and state interventions frequently never reach these actors on the economic and geographic peripheries of modern life, Pope Francis encouraged members of social movements to continue to roll up your sleeves and keep working for your families, your communities, and the common good. Pope Francis said, the global community of working people, many laboring precariously in the informal market, he said, have been excluded from the benefits of globalization. They do not enjoy the superficial pleasures that anesthetize so many consciences, yet always suffer from the harm they produce. The ills that affect everyone hit them twice as hard. How difficult it is to stay at home for those who live in tiny, ramshackle dwellings, or for the homeless, the Pope said. How difficult it is for migrants, those who are deprived of freedom, those in rehabilitation from an addiction. You are there shoulder to shoulder with them, helping them to make things less difficult, less painful, I congratulate you and thank you with all my heart. The Pope suggested that a reordering of priorities in the aftermath of the crisis should eventually lead to universal access to the 3 T's the social movements defend: trabajo, work; tiempo, housing; and tierra, land and food. Pope Francis has frequently referred to the adequate provision of the 3 T's, or in English, the 3 L's, for land, labor, and lodging, as fundamental to justly ordered society. They have been the minimum components for a dignified life, cited by church-based popular movements. For example, in the final statement of the 2017 General Assembly of the World Movement of Christian Workers in 2017. His letter included strong words of encouragement for people whose campaigns for social change are often viewed with suspicion by the wider society. When through community organizations you try to move beyond philanthropy, or when, instead of resigning and hoping to catch some crumbs that fall from the table of economic power, you claim your rights, he told them. You are indispensable builders of this change that no longer can be put off. He also urged them to continue their vital, often unsung work for the common good. I think of all the people, especially women, who multiply loaves of bread in soup kitchens. 2 onions and a package of rice make up a delicious stew for hundreds of children, he said. I think of the sick. I think of the elderly. They never appear in the news, nor do small farmers and their families who work hard to produce healthy food without destroying nature, without hoarding, without exploiting people's needs. I want you to know that our Heavenly Father watches over you, Pope Francis said, values you, appreciates you, and supports you in your commitment. In Easter message, Pope Francis proposes universal basic income.
A clean room, take a shower, clean clothes, love in my heart. This is Dae Miles.